What's up, guys? My name is Gabe, and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the Iowa game preview. Now, I'm going to do my best to keep my composure and keep my cool during this preview. Iowa is one of those programs that really gets under my skin. Their fans online are pretty toxic and horrible. If you've been on Twitter this week, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then you have the whole Kirk Ferentz thing from a few years ago, which I think was so cowardly and out of line, which we will get into. I will play the clip. But yeah, guys, before we do get into it, if you are enjoying the videos, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you would like to help me continue to do this full time, or if you just want to help support the channel, you can sign up for the Trojan Blade Patreon or a channel membership here on YouTube that is linked down below. Or if you simply just want to make a one-time donation, I have links for that as well. It all helps more than you could possibly know. Really appreciate you guys. Now let's get into this preview. All right, so taking a look at the Iowa Hawkeyes. They are currently 6-3, 6th place in the Big Ten. They have wins over UAlbany, didn't even know they played football, UMass, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Penn State, and Minnesota. So in other words, they have not beaten one quality team this year. But when you look at their losses, you have Iowa State, which they lost by 3, Indiana, where they lost by 5, and Oregon, where they lost by 2. So they're either winning games or they're playing really good teams right down to the wire. This defense is legit. The offense is repulsive, but gets the job done. And Iowa special teams might just be the best unit in the entire country. Offense, defense, special teams all combined. That specific unit might be the best. But diving in and meeting the Iowa Hawkeyes, let's start with the head coach, Kirk Ferentz. He's been there a very long time. A bunch of 8 to 11 win seasons without any postseason success has allowed him to become the all-time winningest coach in Big Ten history. It's kind of like Frank Gore in the NFL with rushing yards. Like, he played a really, really long time. I got respect for the longevity and all of that. But overall, he's just a pretty good coach. That is about all I have to say about him. That's nice, however. So this clip I'm about to show you is from December of 2023. So before we had even played a Big Ten game yet. I'm going to play the clip, and then we'll talk about it after. Have a listen.
Yeah, I can think of a guy that entered the conference recently that came with widely acclaimed, offensive stats and all that. And that's usually how those guys get to become well known because of their, whatever they're doing, throwing it, running it, wishbone. But, then you look a little deeper. So what's this guy's wins per game? And there's usually a correlation. People that just throw the ball around, it makes it tougher to win. It makes it tougher to be on good on defense. I think Phil would tell you that. So there is a team concept here that is really important to me. Oh, I know the other one. There's a school on the West Coast right now that's going to recommit to defense. Mm-hmm. You have a 42 to Tulane last year in a bowl game. So, at a place where, Ronnie Ott played. Mm-hmm. So I just find it, now they're going to think about defense. To me, that was the first thing we thought about 25 years ago. That ain't going to change. That just ain't going to change.
He said this in 2023. The Big Ten schedules were out. We all knew who we were going to play. And like a damn coward, talk shit about USC, talk shit about Lincoln Riley without us actually being on the schedule. Which, look, if you want to talk shit about someone, but they're on your schedule, go for it. Because it's going to get resolved on the field. I don't have a problem with that at all. I actually love it. I think it adds a lot of spice to the game, makes people more emotionally invested. But when you're running your mouth about another school so clearly and you refuse to say the name, that's a complete move. He acts like he's some old school Midwest tough guy and then talks about USC when we don't play them until now. That was December of 2023. It's currently November of 2025. That's a chicken move from a chicken coach who's never done a thing in his entire life that has mattered when it comes to on the field success. Congratulations, you beat Clay Helton in a Holiday Bowl where if Keaton Slovis' shoulder does not get completely separated and his career trajectory just gets altered, we win that game. We were shredding them through the air, especially in that second half. We had just recovered an onside kick. And if that injury doesn't happen, we win. Oh yeah, and congrats, you beat Clay Helton. When we had Pete Carroll and played against Kirk's best team at Iowa, his best team ever, we beat their ass in that Orange Bowl. It's such a pathetic thing to do. To talk about another school like that, to talk about another head coach like that, when you don't have an opportunity to play them on the field that year. It's garbage. It's cowardly. And I'll be honest, I just can't stand the dude. Pair that with just the toxic, horrible Iowa fans on Twitter, some of the disgusting and way over the line stuff they've been posting, just horrific and really insensitive stuff about the fires. And I never take social media stuff that seriously because at the end of the day, it's social media. But when there's that many of them doing it and there's that many guys in the responses and everyone's hyping it up and loving it and laughing, like, no, you guys have got a bunch of problems. And I don't just hope we win this game. I hope we beat the living hell out of them. I really do. If we lose, I'm sure Iowa fans are going to watch this and then come to the instant reaction and let me have it. Whatever. I can't stand this fake tough guy, disgusting to watch football program that Iowa is. But moving on from that, when you look at the actual game itself, I think that this is the most simple game to preview I've done all year. I really do. So we'll talk about the weather here in a minute. But what is USC's weakness on defense? And it's not even close. Like, it's the worst part of our unit for sure. It's the interior D-line and it's the run defense. What does Iowa do over and over and over again? They run the ball. Are they going to come into this game respecting our defensive front? Probably not. They're going to test us, and they're going to test us repeatedly. So this is strength on weakness when the Hawkeye offense is on the field against the Trojan defense. And if D'Anton Lynn comes out in anything other than a completely loaded box, I'm going to lose my mind. We don't need to be a nickel. We don't need to be having two safeties back. Come out and cover zero for all I care. Stop the run, commit to doing it, dare Mark Gronowski and this putrid passing offense to beat you. If we come out scared of the throw, I'm literally going to lose my mind watching this game. Talking about Mark Gronowski, I actually think he's a pretty talented quarterback, but when you go to Iowa, quarterbacks are not encouraged to play competent football. They're not coached well, and they're not put in a position to play well. They're just not. He doesn't really have any weapons around him. On the year, he's completing about 64% of his balls, 1,084 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 picks. But on the ground, he's carried it for 88 times, almost 350 yards, and 12 scores. Outside of him for rushing touchdowns, Kamari Moulton has 2 touchdowns on the ground, and Xavier Williams has 3. Those guys are both running backs. So in the red zone, what they're going to do is they're going to run QB power, QB counter, little read option here and there. They're going to let Mark Gronowski get out in space, play make, and make the decision for himself. And more often than not, he's going to take it himself. So when we're in the red zone, we have to be very disciplined on the edges. We can't allow them to part the middle of our defense. No superhero football. Stay gap sound. Be responsible for your man, for your area, whatever the call is. Get hands on guys and set the edge if you're playing one of the end positions. Our linebackers need to be aggressive, instinctive, and downhill. This is a game where Kamari Ramsey has to live around the line of scrimmage. I want to see him flying around, being decisive, playing downhill. I don't want to see him playing nickel off on an island. I want to see him involved in the run game, anywhere between 5 to 10 tackles. Want to see a very productive outing for number 7. Now, switching to the other side, our offense against their defense, this is going to be good on good. The one thing that we cannot do on offense is turn the ball over. Iowa knows how to play complementary football. If they turn you over, they're going to turn that into 6 points the other way. That's how they play, that's how they operate, and they do a very good job at it. And if there's one thing that Jaden Maiava has been really iffy at this year is he throws high. Whether it's to tight ends, receivers, halfbacks out in the flat, that ball's going to be high. So against this Iowa defense, if you miss high, especially if it's wet in the rain, which we'll talk about in a minute, if you tip a ball up like that and you don't come down with it, this Iowa defense is going to pick it off. So Jaden Maiava has to be on time. He has to be accurate. And what Iowa's going to do schematically, they're going to take away the deep ball. They're going to make us work our way down the field. I'd imagine they're going to commit multiple bodies to stopping Mekhi Lemon. And let's be honest, Notre Dame, they didn't even double him the majority of the time, and they completely shut him down. Like he just wasn't open. Nebraska also did a very good job of completely taking him out of the game. Sire Wright just locked him up the entire game. Zach Lutmer, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. He's the corner to know, number 6 for Iowa. 89.8 coverage grade on the year, playing over 468 snaps. They also have TJ Hall, very good corner. Deshaun Lee. This secondary is legit. I know Oregon had a ton of weapons out last week, but they shut down this Oregon passing game. I mean, look at what they did to Indiana. On the day, Mendoza was 13 of 23 for 233, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. So the secondary is legit. They know what they're doing. They're coached extremely well, and they're going to make things hard for this passing offense. The question is, can Jaden Maiava be sound in his progressions, identify when there's a linebacker dropping, because they're going to do that, and Jaden sometimes just does not see them. He has a really bad habit of locking onto his guy pre-snap, and he's throwing that ball no matter what. And just his peripheral vision and awareness isn't one of his elite traits, and he's going to throw that pick. We can't do that against Iowa. We can't be fumbling. We cannot be turning the ball over at all. As we've started to play these more competent defenses, the turnovers have really started to pile up if you actually look at it. Even in that Michigan game, we had the fumble, we had the terrible interception. We have to play clean football across the board. This is also a game that I think Jacoby Lane could be the most valuable player on the field. His ability to pull the rabbit out of a hat, to make something out of nothing, to bring in a ball he has no business catching. I think that could be a matchup nightmare in this game against Iowa. And getting away from the offense-defense thing, we will talk about special teams in a minute, but the mentality part of this game is fascinating. There were so many USC fans, Lincoln Riley included, bitching and complaining about that game against Northwestern, having to fly all the way to Nebraska and then having a short week. But what that also gave us is an extra day of rest for this big game against Iowa. Like, yeah, that part of it sucked, but a positive also came out of it. So if you're one of those people complaining about it, this happens to Big Ten teams every year. It's really a ridiculous thing to complain about, and I wish Lincoln would just stop doing it. But we do have an extra day of preparation and rest. And you look at Iowa, they're coming off an extremely emotional, disappointing, and physically draining loss to Oregon. That was a home game at Kimmick, massive environment, massive expectation, and the way that game ended, to have your soul ripped out like that. What effect is that going to have on this Iowa team as they travel across the country to play USC? Taking a look at their schedule last year, they lost to UCLA in the Rose Bowl. They lost to a Deshaun Foster UCLA team. So you get this team out of Iowa, and they're completely different. Very much a Utah kind of team in that sense. So if you just look at this game on paper, just the matchup, it's terrible for USC, right? They do well what we don't do well. And if this game was just played on paper, I'd pick Iowa to win. But when you factor in that the game is at home, when you factor in that Iowa just had a heartbreaking loss, when you factor in that Iowa just played one of the hardest teams to play against in the entire country in Oregon, when you factor in the travel, when you factor in the fact that we had an extra day's rest, that's where I think USC wins this game. But let's talk about the weather, because that's going to be a massive part of this game as well. It's currently 2:12 Thursday, November 13th here in Arizona. Taking a look at my weather app right now, and I will put it up on the screen. It says there's a 100% chance of precipitation on Saturday in Los Angeles. And when you go hour by hour, it says it's going to be raining throughout the entirety of the game. So that's not good news. I've seen some USC fans trying to spin this as a positive. It's not. What does Iowa want to do? Run the ball on the ground. What do we want to do? A little bit of running the ball on the ground, but we also want to chuck the ball around. Test this Iowa secondary. See if they can hang with a Mekhi Lemon or Jacoby Lane. So it being a rainy day is not a good thing for us. It's just not. Now the weather is something that can change, obviously. But as of right now, expect it to be a rainy, dreary, pretty chilly day at the Coliseum with the temperature in the low 60s. But with all of that in mind, let's get to the score prediction and take a look at the line for this game. All right, so taking a look over at DraftKings, USC is currently a 7-point favorite over Iowa. So a full touchdown favorite at home, which obviously means 4 or 5 points on a neutral field, give or take. So when I look at this game, I'm going to assume it's going to be raining throughout the entirety of the game. So factor that into my score prediction. This game is going to come down to if Iowa can make it a rock fight. If they can make it a muddy, sloppy, gross Big Ten game, then I think they're going to win. But if we can even play a semblance of our game, get the ball into space, test them vertically a few times, and take care of the damn football, and at least be neutral on special teams. Do I expect us to win? No, not in that department. Iowa special teams is legit. Don't give up big returns. God forbid, do not give up a touchdown on the return game. Don't hold. Don't give this offense any extra yards. Make them earn everything. And make all of your kicks, as Ryan Sayeri has done a good job of doing all year long. So if we can do all of that, I think we're going to win this game. I think it's going to be a pretty ugly watch, as most of our games have been this year. This is definitely not one of those years where in a few years you're going to go back and watch a bunch of the reruns, a bunch of the condensed versions. Like, a lot of these are just flush and forget. Aside from the Michigan game, I don't think we've played one really compelling, fantastic game the entire year. So with that in mind, I'm going to say that USC wins it. I don't think we cover the full 7. And I'm going to go USC 24, Iowa 20. I think it's going to be close, lower scoring, very stressful. But yeah, I do think we end up getting the win. I've had a lot of people ask, what does this do to Lincoln Riley if we lose? I mean, if you lose to an offense that inept at home, it's a really bad look, especially if you lose to Oregon the week after. I think compounding it would really make it worse than just the one-off loss to Iowa. Because if we lose this game to Iowa, our playoff hopes are over, right? Season's done. So we're going to Oregon with nothing to play for, I don't like that setup at all. There's 100% a scenario where we win these last 3 games, make the playoff. There's a scenario where we beat Iowa, lose to Oregon, beat the Bruins, but there's also a scenario where we lose all 3. And if we finish the year 7-5 on a 3-game skid, things are going to be hot in Los Angeles. People calling for Lincoln's job, everyone over it. There's going to be no interest heading into the offseason. It's going to be a very, very bad thing. So it all starts this Saturday. We got to get this first win and keep stacking them. But guys, of course, please let me know your score predictions down below. Would love to hear from you on this. And if you guys did happen to enjoy this game preview, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Really appreciate you guys being here. You're all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on. Beat the Hawkeyes.